13th, 2019, Crosby Township Trustee meeting. Will you rise and pledge allegiance to the flag, please? Okay, roll call, please.
Mr. Dole,
Present.
Mr. Niehaus,
Present.
Mr. Heiss,
Present. Okay, approval for the minutes for the regular meeting, April 8th, 2019. Do I have a motion?
I'll make a motion.
I'll second.
Okay. Any correction or addition? If none, roll call, please.
Mr. Dole,
Yes.
Mr. Niehaus,
Yes.
Mr. Heiss,
Yes. Okay, approval of the bills as presented. A motion,
I'll make that motion.
I'll second.
second. Any questions about the bills? If not, roll call, please.
Mr. Dole,
Yes.
Mr. Niehaus,
Yes.
Mr. Heiss,
Yes. Okay, do we have any correspondence? Mr. Doe?
Okay, I got one piece of correspondence. This come from Jack Sutton, Chief Executive Officer, Great Parks of Hamilton County. As you all know, he's retiring May the 16th. He's pleased to announce the Board of Park Commissioners has appointed Todd Palmetter as the new Chief Executive Officer. Todd, T-O-D-D. In it. Palmetter is P-A-L-M-E-T-E-R. And Todd joined Great Parks in 2003 and served in multiple positions, including park planner, facilities management, superintendent, planning director, and chief of planning. And that's all the correspondence I have.
did you say when he would? assume-
May the 16th.
Thank
Okay. Anything else?
Nope, that's all.
Mr. Niehaus?
I have none.
I have one. I got this in the mail. It say think big. What it is they're having a community information night on Tuesday, May the 28th. The Harrison High School, they're gonna redo the I guess the baseball field, football, the stadium scoreboard and press box and and I guess proxy fields so they're having a meeting on May 28th to go over all this, and it's at 7 o'clock at the activity center over on West Road. So if anybody would like to go, it's open to the public. Now all I have. May 28th, 7 o'clock. Okay. Okay, reports. Sheriff Department, please.
Looks like for the month of April, we had 123 calls for service, which has increased 35 from the last month. 4 cases were assigned to our detective unit for investigations, and so far none were closed out. And we had 3 criminal reports, breaking and entering down on Fenal Drive, a burglary down on Wiley, and then Vista View, someone had to require rummage through. It was unlocked, by the way, so it makes it a little bit easier. A couple non-criminal reports, a domestic violence dispute, critical missing down on River Road that our detectives located a short time later. 2 auto accident reports in the township, and then along with Sergeant Steve Raker's annual report, which I'll provide to the trustees. Got notice that we have Crosby's Day coming up on the 20,
19th.
19th.
19th
is that where we're providing
at Strickers Grove. Oh, the parade,
the parade?
it's next Sunday, the 26th after that, yeah.
Okay, we have 2 deputies that will be assigned to
Thank
that, and then we'll have a couple of static, a bomb squad, K-9s down at Strickers.
Great.
And I'll get with the Mr. Niehaus afterwards about what we talked about last week.
Okay.
Got a couple of solutions we should come up with.
Can you elaborate on that?
There was a discussion about some abandoned vehicles throughout the township. So I've reached out to our local prosecutor, who I deal with, came up with what I think might be a reasonable solution to get these cars removed. Besides that, nothing else, unless you got questions? Sir, do you got any questions on that?
Somewhat related to that, this is one of the things I was gonna bring up, is there currently an ordinance in the county or in the township for parking restrictions for time period? So obviously, if they're parked in a fire lane or in front of a fire hydrant, that's obviously illegal, but what about vehicles that don't move for extended periods of time that aren't obviously inoperable? Is there anything on the books for that?
If they're operable, they can be on the street. A lot of people have misconception 48-hour rule.
Right,
You know, you roll them up, roll them back. There's nothing that we enforce on that.
so there's nothing that can be done about,
Legitimately, you have a side street where your resident has 5 cars, he puts one on the street, doesn't move it for a couple weeks, really not much we can do about it. If, you can call us, we can run the car, especially if it doesn't belong in the neighborhood. Make sure the tags are valid and stuff like that.
I just had some residents reach out to me on that. Had some concerns about cars that haven't been moved in an extended period of time. Are there any areas around here that have ordinances for that? Is the township allowed to do anything with that or not?
Some local, I can't say which ones off the top of my head, have some ordinances where you have to move your cars every so often, but that's up to the trustees and the board here to figure that out.
Thank you.
Anything else?
I have some other items for the sheriff's department.
Go right ahead.
So another issue that I was contacted, by the way, just I'm Byron Lewis, I live in Fort Scott, member of the Homeowners Association Board. I was also contacted in addition to the parking question regarding speed issues, particularly on Fort Scott Boulevard up near Vista View at the top of the street. And I've witnessed it personally on the boulevard coming down the hill, that there's a grade there kind of between Bugle and Camp. As you come down, we're talking 35, 45 miles an hour through there. So I don't know if there's any availability of, the regular deputies that are out here or the traffic detail or what, but there's a lot of questions amongst the residents about what we can do about that. I don't know if you guys have a speed trailer available. Any suggestions on that, or?
What I will do is, they do have the detail that comes out here. I'll get with Sergeant Raker, and I think there's a total of 4 of them that work consistently, so it's the same guys. It's primary set up for the school zone, but they'll be more than glad to move over that way. We're in the process of rehabbing our trailer now. It's just going through being modified. So that's another option, but between the detail, our traffic safety unit, and the guys who patrol out here, we should be able to get some answers for you on that.
When you get the phone calls like that, Byron, why don't you call one of us so we can put a sheriff up there?
Well, that's why I'm here.
Well, you could have called and said, hey, last week or whenever they called and said, obviously they just didn't start speeding this week. Today's Monday. We
Well, it's
could,
a daily thing, so.
so, I
A certain
mean,
time of the day, that's,
we could send the sheriff up here, but I will warn you,
Urban residents, I know.
you guys drive it every day. So I tell them on Mount Hope Road, whoever wants the sheriff, you'll probably get the ticket.
Yeah. But you know what? That's,
I'm just telling you, that's what's gonna happen. So,
won't be
but
me. It's all bad.
if we, you know, we've ever had a problem, we just send it, you know, I'll tell the detail, if you get done at Crosby, school's done, go up there, sitting up there someplace. We always done it in every other area
Yep.
around town. When we have
not a problem.
Where did you say the location was?
Well, the complaint that I received was Fort Scott Boulevard between the two Vista View intersections. But I personally have witnessed it myself coming down that hill from Bugle to Camp. They get going pretty good through there, and then around, I mean, they just continue at that pace all the way out. And, you know, the pool's gonna be opening in a couple weeks, and they cross that street there. Everybody that walks to the pool, right on that curve, so.
Yeah, I think we've called or told the detail to check Blue Rock before, thinking people, you know, doing the cut through. Never thought that they would be speeding in the subdivision itself, so, yeah, we can just tell them, you know, go in.
not a problem, I'll get that taken care of for you.
Yeah.
Anything else, sir?
Has there been any decision on the traffic detail expansion that was discussed, due to the reduction in patrols and availability of the adjusted availability of the sheriff's department?
I'm gonna speak on our availability. We still have three beats out here primarily for the 3 townships, 24/7, so we have not reduced anything.
Okay.
Also, our traffic, as far as increasing it, that's up to them, to the board.
Well, as Chief Deputy Schoonover said, that you guys were having to be a little creative, and that, that expanding the detail could be helpful in making sure that you're able to better creatively keep things covered, so.
From time I've been on, 28 years, we've had 3 cars out here. We call it the 15, 16, and 17 beat, and we're still carrying that same beat structure 24/7.
And then the last thing I had was, you mentioned the cases that went to detectives. Was the Vista View, car break-ins, is that one of them?
Yeah.
Yes, that would be one of them.
Okay. Are you gonna be giving a time reading?
Yes.
Okay, we need to discuss that.
Okay.
Because I actually talked to Harrison Police, they reached out,
Okay.
and I just wanna make sure you're aware of the extenuating circumstances involved in that case.
That's not a problem. We work jointly with a lot of people. We just solved a case from down in the Hooven area today with the help of police officers, so we do work together.
Right, I know, I just wanted to, I don't wanna say it publicly.
Okay, that's fine. I appreciate that.
About speeding, I live on Oxford Road, and it seemed like on weekends, they could really go speeding. It's like Saturday night, Sunday night, or whatever.
It's starting to be that time of the year. It's warm out. People seem to increase their speeds a little bit, so
So,
we'll be out there.
and then there's a lot of heavy trucks coming on Oxford Road, so. And all people walk on the road because there's no sidewalk on Oxford Road, so. A lot of people walk down to the park and back, and so I thought I'd let you know that.
I'll get it out to the guys tonight.
Okay.
That it? Sir, anything else?
No.
Okay.
I have,
Yes, ma'am.
my name's Shannon Murphy, sorry, I'm
And
new to this. I live in New Baltimore, and we had some problems going on out there. The house on the end of New Haven and Long Street, where the.
it's the one,
The point.
I probably know what house you're talking about. I just don't know the address.
it's the one at the
It's-
zoning.
It's where the overdose happened a couple years ago.
Like 8 cars in different yards.
Yeah, not just that,
Pictures of it, you know.
she's got it. There's a couple of different people living there, some in campers, and, they seem to be back on something and standing in the middle of the road and walking the streets of all hours, you know, turning circles like they're on drugs, hiding in people's ditches, yaks.
I asked, how often have you called us?
Have I called you? I would not.
That's the question, do we just call every time we see them?
If you see something suspicious, 825-2280 is a non-emergency number.
Okay,
The county dispatch will answer that, and they'll dispatch us out there.
okay.
Unfortunately, we drive in these cars that are black with some stars on them. They reflect at night. They see us before we see them. They're out of there. So if you call us, believe me, especially on night shift, you know, them guys,
I've dealt with Jeanette before,
Right.
it's awesome, so,
Right.
yeah, we just don't know what to do out there with the issues going on.
just give us a call.
What's that phone number again?
It's 513-825-2280.
Thank you.
Anything else?
Yes, sir.
What is trespassing rules here as far as people being on property? What do you need to do? Like, do you write it in the paper, or signs?
Normally what would happen is if the officers respond and someone's on your property, we'll usually ask them to leave. If they refuse to leave, they can be trespassed. Once you tell them not to come onto your property, we,
I think she's talking about our property.
I'm more talking about
I don't
hers.
really know know everything around it.
It's basically her and Mr. Bear have, people trespass, like they're walking through this little cutway,
Mhm.
but they're flicking lit cigarettes at their barn that has
We don't-
hay and stuff in it.
We don't have signs up yet, though, that's our
So,
We just found it, yeah. So we need to put signs up, I guess?
it's always a good idea to put the signs up. That'll give them a warning. And once again, give us a call when they're cutting through so we can find out what they're up to.
because one of them was carrying a battery at 5 o'clock in the morning not too long ago.
And that's something we should know about. Because I guarantee you, if we see that guy walking down the street, that battery gets chucked into the woods. He's just a guy walking down the street, which is not illegal.
Right.
But you saying he had a battery is gonna make us dig a little bit harder. And two, if in the morning your neighbor wakes up, battery's gone, we identified who this guy is, we can maybe pin it back on him.
Yeah, we usually, after the meetings, we tell, doing the sheriff's thing, if you see anything, call. That's their job, is to come out there. So, but it's, when you wait a month, it's too late.
Well,
If you see anything that's not right, call them and they'll come, and that's their job to come and check it out. And, but if you wait until it's too late, you know what I'm saying? It's,
Yeah.
you don't know. So any time of night, if you see people wandering around the streets at 5, 4 o'clock in the morning, they're probably up to no good.
well, some of these times, I guess, and I don't have a problem calling you every time it happens. I mean, you know, there's no law against somebody being in the middle of the street, right? I mean, not within this one. And so, and there's probably no law that they can't do karate in the middle of the street, if they want. And so, what are they gonna call you and say, well, there's this guy down the street doing karate in the middle of the street?
At 3 a.m.?
No, let's say it's at 4 o'clock in the afternoon.
It's still something we're gonna come investigate. Perfect example I give, in Miami Township, someone called about a car just off the side of the road. It didn't fit the normal neighborhood. Officer went and investigated it, went across the street, and he broke up a home invasion robbery. All because of a car parked on the side of the street that we would have never known that car did not belong there. You know, I can drive down a lot of streets, especially in Crosby Township. There's cars parked on people's sides of their property all over the place.
Then the other question is, if you go and you contact them, do you let them know who called you?
Nope.
Do you say that one of your neighbors?
No. You can remain anonymous. Or if you want the dispatcher to have the officer call you back, say you'd like a phone call back. And they'll be more than glad to give you a call.
Anything else? Okay. I thank you. Oh, we
Thank you,
thank you.
gentlemen.
Thanks.
Okay. Public at large?
I think we already hit it.
Okay, just for the record, Byron Lewis, Fort Scott resident, here kind of pulling double duty tonight, one representing myself and as well the Homeowners Association Board. So I mentioned a lot of the items that came, so those were the easy ones.
Had several emails that came out to you guys. Have never gotten a response on any of them. One of them is related to the broken sidewalk. I understand you talked about that at the following meeting. Is there any update on that?
Be done this week, supposed to be.
Okay, great. Thank you. And then another one I sent to everyone, I don't see Rick, was regarding the PUD and all of the street trees. Did you guys see that? I copied all of you on that. About,
Yeah, I got the email, but I don't know anything.
because I haven't received any response on that whatsoever. And that was April 16th.
Do you know anything on that, Chris? Because you was on the,
Well, Rick was gonna check into it, that's all.
okay. Well, I don't know.
Okay. Well, I mean, it'd been nice if I'd have known he was at least checking into it, because it's been since April 16th.
I think I
so.
told you a long time ago I don't email.
Well, the residents do, and I mean, I understand that it may not be here.
Just told Jenny there, my phone number's on the thing you get, so.
I understand it may not be your favorite thing, but if you know, when something goes out to everyone, if someone could just say, hey, we got your email, we're looking into it, even if you don't have an answer, that would be helpful, and I think that is reasonable. So is Rick going to be out tonight that he can speak to that? Is he here during his segment? Can he?
Is he back here?
Okay. All right. The next thing, I sent an email on April 10th regarding response times of the fire department. Never saw anything back on that. Not sure if anything has been addressed. So no idea. There's really not been. I know Chuck asked questions last meeting. Didn't really, like I said, didn't get a response. Have no idea if anything's been worked on or not. But, you know, we're still continuing to see a lot of the similar problems with the fire department. I'm not sure if you guys are aware, but I've got 4 days here, April 21st, an entire night shift, April 23rd, an entire day shift, 5 hours on May 1st, and 7 hours on May 8th, where the county reports ALS 28 is out of service. So that means there was no West Jad medic in Crosby Township. Now, I don't know what kind of medic situation Crosby had on those particular days at that particular time, but those are days where that unit is not available. And, you know, I know that, you know, I personally was on that auto accident on Thursday. Chuck, I know you're aware of that because Mr. Breitenbach made you aware of that.
Yes.
So on that day, Chief Davis was working with one other person. I saw his response regarding a call off that day, but that's still, you know, time where we had only 2 people working, and, you know, obviously we had a serious event on our hands there. So obviously we're still having problems with West Jad. We're still having problems with staffing. The response times, I have a note here from Saturday. There was a fire run on Saturday. I actually called that one in because I looked out. Again, neighbors reached out to me. Why they don't call the fire department, I don't know. But they reached out to me. I looked out my front porch. There was lots of dark, billowing smoke coming up from over on River Road. Smelled really bad. It was permeating into the neighborhood. Looked like a decent-sized fire from what I could see. So I called that in. That was a 16-minute response time to on scene. So,
on that particular case, dispatch said it was on River Road between this address and this address.
I heard it.
As they were coming down New Haven towards Blue Rock,
Mm-hmm.
the thick black smoke, they thought it was coming from Fort Scott. So they turned into Fort Scott first, found it on the side of the road on River Road, turned around, went back to make sure it wasn't a house fire or a car fire. It looked like a car fire from what they said. They were
Okay.
burning tires and stuff they shouldn't have been burning,
Well,
garbage.
The dispatcher told them over the radio that the call came from Fort Scott, but it wasn't in Fort Scott. So
I will,
the dispatcher told them that it was not there.
okay, I will talk to that crew.
Okay, because I was listening. So, you know, there's been, you know, several other issues. You know, I could go on and on, but, you know, we've talked about them. So, you know, just looking for an update because I'm not seeing much happening. So just want to let you know that, I mean, here we are in a span of, and Chief Davis, do you know how many people were working that run that day on that crew? On Saturday?
I believe it was 3 full. I'll double check. What time was that?
I believe it was early afternoon, maybe 1 o'clock. I'd have to look.
Three.
Yeah, sorry. Yep, 1437.
As far as times, we're monitoring times. I am, but you have to understand we only have 3 personnel, and those personnel, depending on the run, could take any vehicle. So they tend to keep their gear in between the squad and the engine. They're required to take their gear on squad runs because you can come back from the hospital, you can make a fire call, or go into a auto accident with entrapment, may need your gear on. So it takes time to put gear into vehicles and get gear on. I know no one's dragging their feet when the calls come in. Sometimes we're out doing training, sometimes we're checking vehicles, and we have to secure vehicles. Only having 3 on and having leaving vehicles outside unsecured. We try to put them away as quickly as we can. We know that we need more personnel, and I think we're actively working on that to make the situation better.
Okay, so have there been any policy changes, any directives? I guess my question is, I'm just asking, what have we done?
I can make a policy change. I'm trying to get out the door quicker, but I know, there's certain circumstances where they may be delayed quite a few seconds.
Well, I can appreciate that. I mean, we talked about the garage door incident a long time ago.
Sure.
We talked about those things, but, my concern is that I understand that every once in a while something's going to come up. The garage door's going to stick. You're going to have vehicles outside. But, I mean, these are just the ones that I've either had the unfortunate instance to be present or heard the dispatch go out myself. All the data that I've looked at from the county, it doesn't seem to be the exception. It seems to be the rule. And that's all I'm asking is, what are we doing to try to bring that down?
I'll work on it. The NFPA that you cited, 1710, that also states there should be 4 personnel on an engine,
Correct?
and we don't have that. There's quite a few departments that don't have that. I would love to have 2 more on per shift for a total of 5.
Well, I mean, that would be ideal, but I mean, that's not, does that slow them down?
It'll make it a little quicker. There'll be a dedicated squad crew, gear's already on the squad, a dedicated fire crew, gear's already at the fire truck, less switching around fire gear, throwing it onto different vehicles. That'll help.
Okay. Well, sure.
The average response time, does anyone know? I'm just curious.
It varies, daytime traffic, nighttime, where it's at. I do know that the southern area, 128 and New Baltimore, it's a little longer because we're coming from Boffman Road.
Yeah, it has a lot to do with what the firemen are doing at the time the call comes in too.
We could be out checking hydrants over by the
Being-
park.
They can be in the shower, they can be, anything.
Right,
But they're
and
going, they can,
and that's why I looked.
you gotta know, what's going on.
15 minutes is long, I guess that's what I'm
Yes,
saying. That's a long time. Okay.
that's a long time to be stuck in a burning house.
Yes, it is. I just didn't know like what the norm is average countywide or township, not just our township.
I mean, I've talked to other fire departments and they all tell me the same thing. It all depends what they're doing at the time of when the call comes in, it takes time to get dressed. It takes time, if somebody's in the shower or anything, going to the bathroom or comes in, you're gonna have a delay and traffic or whatever. I mean, I've talked to Jason about it. I've stopped over a few times this last month and asked him a few questions on the stuff, and then
Well, and that's why I looked at averages. You know what I mean? Because I understand that you're going to have those instances of the garage door and things like that. But with the run volume that Crosby has, I find it hard to believe that every time somebody's in the bathroom or the garage door sticks or they're out doing hydrants or, it's a numbers game. And so if that is the case, then we would expect to see numbers some high and the majority of them where they should be. And we're not seeing that.
I don't think our guys are saying, we're not gonna go there. We're just taking
No.
time to get there. You know what I mean? I think they're all,
Byron, the printout that you gave us, there were some very quick response times in there also.
There were, yes.
On both EMS and fire.
There
And
were.
what were those? Just to say, 4 to 6 minutes? Or what?
Some of them were less than 60 seconds.
Yeah.
Well, so
Those are good.
those are good.
But those are not the rule, is what I'm saying. If you look
Yeah.
at the data,
Well,
And-
those are not, same as the 16 minutes is not. You've got
Right.
both ends of the spectrum there.
well, you know what that tells me? That's a crew issue. That's a crew issue. That's a culture issue. So you got crews on that are getting their butts out the door, who take it seriously and are out the door, and then you have crews who are not. Because when you break down the data I sent you guys, Unit 3 is terrible. Unit 3 and that's the unit that was working on the 16-minute response time day on Saturday. They have substantially higher issues than Unit 1 day. When the chief's on, the numbers are lower. So that tells me we have a culture problem.
I can correct that. I will take care of that. I will talk to the Unit 3 officers.
Okay, thank you.
Hi, I'm Kevin, live on Short Road. I've been a firefighter for over 26 years. I have retired, and a couple things I want to point out. I want to thank the fire department very much for everything they do. It seems like the only thing that comes out tonight is negative things. You guys do a lot of good things for the community. If I may speak a little bit, I heard NFPA mentioned, right? That is a guideline, it's not a standard.
I'd like to point out, I used to work for Crosby.
I understand. But that is a guideline, all right? And that's based on anywhere from a large metropolitan city to what I would consider a rural or suburban fire department. To me, I'm very lucky, I feel, living in a small township like this and have a paid fire department. Because most of the time, this would be a volunteer fire department. If you go and look at the majority, look at the standard throughout the United States, this 100% would be a volunteer fire department. So I thank you all for putting together a paid fire department. As far as the response times, there's a lot of factors in there. Instead of just saying that this unit's not doing that, it could be a lot of things. It may not be a cultural thing. It might be that they're busy all the time. They're out doing hydrants. They're doing inspections. They're doing training. There's times where you're doing training that's going to make your response time a little longer. But it's risk versus reward, right? So by doing those trainings, they're going to make you better at what you do and be more effective towards the township. I would like to offer my services. I'll be gone for a month. But to sit down with you and maybe the trustee and the chief and have these discussions and, find out what's going on, help do that, and, maybe it'll be more of a positive outcome. Like I said, it's just an offer to sit down with y'all. I do have quite an extensive background in the fire service. I have OFE, which is Ohio Fire Executive training. I've been an officer most of my life. I ran crews. So, for free, I'm offering my services to sit down and with Byron and the chief and, the trustees and have these conversations. And, just don't stand up here and, what's wrong. Let's also talk about what's good. And what from what I've seen, watching the responses, you know, they're standard. I work for Sycamore Township. It's one of the busiest townships in the county. Worked there for quite a few years. And we had some very delayed response times, but there's so many factors that could be in there instead of just pointing out that it's a cultural thing, like there's a vendetta here. You know, let's find out that it's not, or it is, and if it is, well, let's help the chief make this a better department for all of us. Thank you.
What was your name again?
Kevin Fleetman.
Thank you.
And I'd like to just add real quick, this is not a vendetta. If,
What?
I don't know if you've watched the previous meetings.
I have not.
For the last
What?
year, we've been talking about this for a year and a half. And we sat down, we had a meeting here with a large
You're
group of
still in
residents
public,
talking about these issues. And we offered exactly what you offered, to sit down with the trustees, members of the community, with the fire department to talk about these things. And we were never taken up on it. And so it's not that, you know, this is a new issue, and that's probably where you're sensing some of that, you know, enthusiasm for me, is because we've been talking about this, and what I'm most disappointed in is more or less the inaction. And, you know, I've tried this several different ways. I've tried, you know, we had very vigorous discussions that were very heated. We tried leaving it go for a while. We tried communicating with trustees directly, and we really just aren't getting anywhere. And my biggest concern, it started out with concerns for ALS service. And we have a real problem. I think even you can admit that we have a real issue with ALS service.
Well, in all fairness to the ALS part of it, that's why there's mutual aid. Mutual aid goes both ways, correct? So you not only have the mutual aid coming in, but you also got the mutual aid going out. That could be one of the reasons we have these long response times sometimes also. But there's paramedics to the south of us, there's paramedics to the north of us. We have ALS coverage. Just because one unit's out doesn't mean that this township's not covered, correct?
Correct.
All
But
right.
Correct.
Now, hold on. So, you know, whatever reason that West Jad didn't have a paramedic that day, it's not just Crosby Township that has problems with low manning. I still talk to all my guys over in Sycamore Township. And they have, if somebody calls off, it's just an open spot because there's nobody to fill it anymore. Nobody wants to be a firefighter. Nobody wants to be a paramedic. You know, it's so bad that the schools, there's a lot of the schools, back when I went to a paramedic school many years ago, everybody and their brother offered paramedic school. Hardly anybody does anymore. Because there's just, it's all, for them it's all about money, right? If nobody's taking the class, they're not gonna have the classes. So just because a unit's out of service doesn't mean that there's not a backup somewhere else. Thank you.
The West Jad issue was a funding issue that we've been talking about for a year and a half. Are you aware that up until Texas Gas came online, they were going to be out of money by the end of this year? That's where this discussion is rooted. So the root of this discussion is that West Jad, as of prior to 3 months ago, when this windfall came, the understanding was that West Jad was going to be gone by the end of this year, and Crosby was not situated in a position to provide ALS paramedic service in their absence.
Once again, I'd like to point out that it's all about dollars and cents.
I know.
All right? We are a small community. It's getting bigger, but we are a small community. So just by having paid personnel on board, we're lucky. All right? We may not have everything that the city of Cincinnati or Coleraine Township or Sycamore Township has. But what we have is the best that we can afford right now. And once again, I'd like to thank you for what you put together and what we have.
Thank you.
May I say something? I'd like to say some things. Crosby Township, a couple years ago, City of Harrison had a study on their fire department done by Criminal. And I got some of that information. Crosby Township, our size is around, says 3,000 people. Only 3.2% on our range, our population has paid fire department. 96.8% of all our size across Township volunteers. And a long time ago, we had volunteers. When I came on board on April 1st, 2008, I was a fiscal officer. At the fire department at that time, we didn't have 3 people. We only had 2 people for at least, a year, 2 years, I don't remember anymore, but we had 2 people and we're up to 3 people. At one time, we only had 2 people on duty, and now we have 3. Sometimes you got somebody calling sick or whatever, you might only have 2 for a while, but then I know Jason's trying to find somebody else to come in and ahead of time or call somebody off duty to come in and cover for that person. So I've been talking to different people from the other township, trustees and non-trustees, so I can understand how we relate to other township. And I hear a lot of good response. Westjack was going to be running out of money at the end of this year. But there was a solution talking about, for example, Whitewater. If Westjack go out of business, Whitewater Township was also is not able to supply. They're not in a situation now that they could afford to take over if Westjack go out of business. They got the same problem. But they were talking about, and we're going to bring it up later, Westjack had a meeting a week after we had our last meeting. It was after our last trustee meeting. Now, at that time, they were talking about they were going to be short somewhere around $100,000 a year. At that time, we were talking, this was Westjack trustee meeting, we were talking about maybe Whitewater could put in 50%, which is maybe $50,000 or $60,000 a year, and then Crosby Township put in 50%, $50,000 or $60,000 to cover that shortage. The estimate income for Westjack for 2019 around $440,000. Our permit appreciation for Westjack for 2019 around $540,000. So we're about $100,000 short. But at the last Westjack meeting, we talked about how we're going to cover that. And one idea is Westjack will get half the money from Whitewater, half the money from Crosby to cover the shortage. So Westjack is not going to go away at the end of 2019 because Whitewater can't afford to do it without Westjack. And in Crosby Township may or may not be able to afford it. So, but my understanding is Whitewater Township general fund is tight, where our general fund is in good shape. So, but I get you know that. So, and I also get information from other township, and also talk to the Hamilton County Communication Center. I'm trying to get more information, how we compare to other township. A claim report says something about turnout time 60-second, 80-second. I talked to a lot of different people. It used to be firefighters, fire chief in the past from other township, and that is an ideal time. Unless you're in the city of Cincinnati, where they got I don't know how many farmhouses. And if somebody's short in one farmhouse, they would send somebody over to another farmhouse. The 60 to 80 second is basically is an ideal time. But the big city, about the only one that can do 60 or 80 second. And most township and some small city won't be able to do that. The other time, we response time. I read the Kramer report. They have 2 firehouses. And they also got a problem with response time. Kramer report recommend 1 new firehouses and move to the other 2 firehouses to another location. You got to move firehouses. What they're talking about, they're going to end up needing 3 new firehouses in the city of Harrison. So, and the same way with Crosby, our response time could make it, because Fort Scott is so far away, the only way you're going to resolve that is build another firehouse either in the middle or build one on the east side, and we have one on the west side. And that's going to cost $2 to $3 million to build a firehouse. So, and I also got a report on how many runs we had in 2017. Hold on. I think I gave you guys a copy.
Kevin, could you spell your name for me, please?
F-L-I-E-H-M-A-N.
Thank you.
Yeah.
You done? You-
Please. Okay, EMS for the year 2017. This is Crosby Township EMS in our township. From our department, we had total for the whole year 270. Average about 22 and a half per month. Less than 1 EMS run per day. The fire department, yeah. Let's see. Okay, the fire department on fire run for the whole year we had 63, average of 5.25 per month. So, so we do need to improve on that, and I think Jason will, with our help, resolve on our.
Does that include all the mutual aid runs that they
It's
get?
not. Most of our mutual aids go out instead of in. We do a lot of, like the last report that you're gonna report on.
Yeah,
is
17 to 1.
17 went to city of Harrison, Harrison Township. I mean, we had 19 what we gave.
Butler County sometimes also, Ross, Morgan.
Yeah, so. And how many were we given? Jason gonna report on that, but we give out a lot more mutual aids than what we receive. And so, 4. We got them. So. So if we was out, for a whole month, we got 4 mutual aid for the whole month. So, and we gave out a lot more, 19?
Right, which goes into what he was saying
Yeah.
before about your times could be messed up. They could be running on a mutual aid and turn around and run someone for our own call.
So I know on the Jim Newhouse mentioned in the past, we could have, 2 fire stations and 2 staff. But if we got have mutual aid going out, or we got one in or whatever, and we got another call, we're gonna end up needing mutual aid from somebody. So,
Well, who do we send most of our mutual aid to? Probably Harrison. They got 2 firehouses and how many guys on duty? But we still got to send them mutual aid. I mean, I don't know if I'm wrong or not. Jason might know this. the city of Wyoming, who's one of the richest cities or, you know, neighborhoods around here, I believe they're volunteer, ain't they?
I believe so.
They're the richest neighborhood around, one of the richest neighborhoods, and they're volunteer fire department.
Right.
In the city of Wyoming. You know, we're above them.
Go back to that.
And mutual aid is a great thing, because it goes by.
So you want to go backwards now, Byron, instead of
I want to
forward?
get what we're paying for in our tax dollars, but if you guys keep comparing us to Wyoming and everybody else, let's go back to that. I'm fine with that. If that's what
But then you'll complain about when they show up. I mean,
Byron, I'm going to say something. You've been here a couple of years now complaining about this fire department. Evidently, you're the only one, and your little buddy that ain't here is the other one, Mr. Breitenbach, complains about it. There's nobody else comes. So evidently, nobody else is concerned about it, but you too. So we supposed to change everything in our whole fire department, the whole township, because of you two?
No,
These people here ain't complaining.
you get the
They're
government we
residents.
deserve.
Do what?
I also call
The government we deserve. And if people don't want to show up, that's your right. You're absolutely right.
So, I mean, I can't say we're going to spend all this money for you. Is that fair? Would you be mad if, say, Jenny here came in and wanted to spend a bunch of money on something else? And I said, yes, go ahead, Jenny, let's do that. But just one person came in? We can't do that. I mean, nobody else is coming in here and saying anything. We're doing our best. We've told you, and you know it, that we cannot afford to do what we're doing. We can't hire people that ain't there to have applications in. We can't go and compete against the bigger fire departments and hire to them. I don't understand. We're trying. You act like we're not trying. Just because somebody don't email you back. Leave a phone number. I'll call you back. Call me up. I'm not emailing you. I can tell you that right now. You know, we get stuff done. Sidewalk's taken care of. You come in here, sidewalk ain't taken care of. Well, it's gonna get done this week.
I just asked for an update.
Well, could you call me? And I've told you 100 times, many times I do not email. Call me.
I talked to other township, and I asked them what kind of reports they give. The fire chief gives, their fire chief give like Whitewater and Ross and Morgan. Basically, they give the same type of report as Jason, our fire chief, give to us. They do not give any response time. They do not give any turnout time. So I'm still looking into that. See, and yes.
You brought up Mr. Kramer. I worked for Bill for many years. Are you guys thinking about doing a study with him?
Now that costs probably $25,000 or something.
That would be on the low end.
Could be 25,000, tell us what we already know.
Yes, which means we need another firehouse or move the firehouse.
Trying to correct it.
My point, sir. I've seen a lot of communities do these studies, and they come back with what is the best scenario, right?
Right,
But then
best
you
time.
have the money to support that, or you just wasted $100,000 for your study. So that's the only thing that I would like to caution the court on, is that it's great information, but it costs a lot of money to achieve what the ultimate would be.
And I'm sure the city of Harrison Fire Department knew ahead of time that when they get that study, that their firehouses is not in the right location, and that they're gonna need a new firehouse. They probably knew that ahead of time, but the council probably.
A lot of people don't understand. At the time, the fire departments were exactly where they needed to be. I mean,
Right.
back in the day, a lot of us can remember, the only one was downtown.
Right.
And the city grows just like the township grows, with the Fort Scott expansion and everything. But, down the road, it's something to, you guys already know that, instead of paying someone to tell you what you already know, it's something to look for in the future is, let's look for property somewhere centrally located. Which then again is gonna adjust your response times again, because yes, it's gonna be closer there, but it's gonna extend it out here. So run times are very dynamic based on so many things that a lot of people don't look at, so.
Right. In the years past, they moved the main firehouse to New Haven because everything was building up along Oxford Road. They pretty much shut down the one in New Baltimore. Now New Baltimore's growing, so now that response time is shifted. And we have looked at property for a build-up firehouse, and it's not available. We've been looking for a place for build Harry's place, and we've been looking for a spot for a firehouse. So things, it's not advertised that we're doing stuff, but we've been looking into.
I actually started out as a volunteer firefighter here in Crobsy Township back in '88, so I'm very aware of the dynamics of the township. Thank you.
Yeah, we, of course, Jim, both of them asked some farmers around it, they got all these 100 acres. Would you sell us 3 acres, 5 acres so we can build a fire station? They said no.
No, we tried leasing
We
property on
asked.
128 up
Yeah.
top of the hill there, and we've looked at numerous scenarios. So it's
And if you can't find the land to build a fire station in the middle of the township to cut down our response time, I mean, we can't go to court and force somebody to sell the land. I don't think we can we, Alan? So, I don't think we got that power.
No.
We're not what you call a home rule township.
eminent domain.
Yeah. We're not a home rule township, is that what they call
No,
it?
we're not a homeroom
Right.
township, so we have less power than they do.
Right.
Right.
So, but we are going to keep working on it until training is the important thing. It's just something not working, we need to get the people trained, whatever. I talked to Watchdog Chief Swift, and she Watchdog Whitewater Township and Crosby Township. And I talked to her about a lot of different things. And she said she would think Crosby Township does a good job. I mean, she could tell me, I talked to her on the phone and posting. She could tell me the truth. Just, I know she would tell me if we got a problem or whatever. But she said basically, Crosby Township, I guess in Whitewater Township, we got good people. And I think people care about, if you got somebody having a heart attack or having a fire, I think our staff know they want to get there as fast as possible. But
A lot of people don't understand, but if you are going mutual aid a lot, it says a lot about your environment. Because I know for a fact that if you didn't have a good, great fire department, they wouldn't call you mutual aid, they'd call somebody else. But it's obviously they show up, they do their job, they do it well, and that's why they are being called mutual aid. All the surrounding areas.
Thank you.
And she said she got called in the middle of the night and taking a shower. They're going to take a little time to get out of bed, get clothes on, go to the bathroom, whatever. Because she don't realize that call might last 5 minutes or 2 hours. She don't know how long she's going to be out of that firehouse. Not the same way with fire department. The firemen, when they go, they don't know they're going to be out for a half hour or 2 or 3 hours. So they get up there, they want to go to the bathroom. They don't want to be out there fighting a fire. And, there's numerous. I get like everybody else, the man and woman. You know how that is. So.
Well, I have a question for you. My name is Jenny Bear, and I live on Long Street in New Baltimore. And so I didn't really come prepared because I didn't know how things worked. But I just wanted to ask about 3 buildings. So I know that the officer spoke about the cars that are on property and that they're looking into how to get the cars moved. But there's 3 properties right now in like the town of New Baltimore that are literally falling apart. One has already burned, but it's sat there for about a month. So I just want to make sure, one, if a garage is rebuilt, they won't allow people to live in it again. Is that correct? That would be the first question. And then so I don't have the addresses, but so besides the cars that are in that property and the strange behavior that goes on at the corner of New Haven and Long Street, there's also garbage and the building is just like falling apart around them. And then there's also like a garage on the street where the store is. I guess it used to be a garage at some point, that the roof is falling in and the boards are falling. I mean, the C blocks are kind of falling in. The wood is all rotten around it. And I have pictures of all of it, but like, what do we do with that stuff? Well, I mean, they're pointing to you, so I'll ask you. I believe you must be Mr. Espel. So what do we do with that stuff? I filed a nuisance complaint for some of them with the county. And then I'm just going to say one thing, if I could, as someone who's never been to a meeting and doesn't know a whole lot about the township. If it were on your website somewhere that you don't respond to email, that would be helpful. Like, the best way to get a hold of someone is to call, because I also emailed about these questions. And I know now to email Brenda, because she'll also follow up. And I know that Jim does not respond to emails, so if I want to get him, I will call him. But if nobody responds to emails, it might be wise to put that on there, because all of the email addresses are on the website, with the thought in the community that we can email. And I'm fine with people who don't email. That doesn't bother me a bit. But it might be nice to just know that, like, even if there's even if there's something that automatically responds that says we don't respond to email in a time, please feel free to come to a meeting, or that's just.
Well, to answer your question, tonight I'm trying to get the trustees to declare a nuisance there's 3 properties in New Baltimore. This is the procedure I have to go through. If the people don't respond to my initial letter and change, then I have to go through this process, and that takes at least 2 public hearings till they can sign off on it. Now they can sign off on it. And what it means is that I then have to write them another letter saying either get rid of the junk cars or the township will come and haul them away. Then we'll have to see what happens from there. It's not a quick process, but I understand where you're coming from. I know what properties they are, but it's like beating your head against the wall. And some people respond right away. Other people just, the one property at the corner, the intersection, this is an ongoing thing over the years. They clean it up, then they're back. Clean it up, and then it's back.
No, I understand. And then I just wasn't sure, like, what we did. And the other building, I don't even know who owns it. It may actually be. Well, no, not the garage with the burned down, but then there's another, like, garage that used to be like a work garage, I think.
That one I'm not familiar with, so.
I'll have to get addresses for the next meeting, but it's.
All I need is an address.
Okay.
And I don't need a name or anything. I just need an address so I can see what the complaint is, so I can investigate it.
And you can give that to Rick at any time. You don't have to just bring it to the meeting. Yeah. Rick's available on Monday
Give you
nights.
my phone number.
Yeah, the phone number's on. The,
Maybe I'm talking about Jim Mullen's garage.
Yeah, you can,
It's falling apart. Let me tell you, that roof is falling in. If it's the garage
Yeah.
I'm talking about. I
you
can do something.
you can, if you keep the flyers that we send them out quarterly, is it?
Well, the phone numbers are on the website too.
Yeah.
Yeah, I have your numbers
Yeah.
now.
Yeah, and everybody's number's on there that you can
Yeah,
call.
yeah, first phone calls. Like,
But-
I hate to call and bother people.
I can
No,
get
no,
more-
I carry the township phone with me, and I do respond to the calls. All I have to do is call me. And then now sometimes I don't respond right away. I'm either driving or I do have a real job. So, but I do carry the phone with me 24/7. So it's okay to call.
yeah, Brenda here normally 8 to 12. If she's not here for whatever reason, you can leave her a message on our 738-1440, 738-1440.
All of those are on the website. You'll be fine. You get to
Yeah,
that.
I can get
Any person.
Yeah.
So, new to this again, the dump in New Baltimore that is supposed to be construction only material. Why are we getting bad odors now from it? If it's construction only.
I thought that was fixed. Wasn't it done?
That has not been fixed.
It's back again?
Yes, it is.
I was over there working at the ball fields the other day and I didn't smell it.
I haven't smelled it for a while, but
It was on the hotter days that
I
we
did
smelled
send
it.
out a flyer. I put a flyer all over New Baltimore with the numbers to call. At Rumpke, I spoke to the owner of the dump. I spoke to the gentleman at Rumpke, and then of course I took to the township meeting. But it seemed to go away. So because it was horrible. So I did notice it a little bit, but
When we heard about it, we got on it right away and they said it was.
Drywall, they
This
said it
is
was
drywall, yeah.
Drywalls, but they keep saying.
I
Yeah,
at first
it's like
thought
on
it was
the
the sewage.
Yeah, I really noticed it, like the warmer it gets, like on the 80-degree days, that's when I smelled it again.
Yeah, I was over the ball fields working right next to it, and I never noticed anything when I was over there, so I thought, and I drive by there, I always kind of ram my window down and see if I smell anything, and of course, I never smelled it when everybody else was smelling it or something.
So go by again this weekend. It'll warm back up.
Yep.
Okay.
Where we're at, Chuck.
I think we probably lost anybody else? Okay, I guess reports. Alan?
The county and the city have gotten a tentative agreement on their litigation over water. Here's the information I received. The city of Cincinnati has agreed to a 1.25 rate differential. But it says, however, the issue of the extra .08 add-on that the county has been receiving has not yet been resolved. That's an issue between the county and the townships. So for the moment, the total the township residents will pay is 1.33, the same as it has been. And there is going to be a meeting, and you probably know about this, the Hamilton County Trustees Association has a meeting scheduled for May 29th, which I believe is a Wednesday. All of that's going to be discussed.
Yep.
And that's all I have.
I don't know if that's the same one, I thought they said.
Yeah, Tom Weedman set one out about,
They're gonna sign something for 100 years or something like that?
yeah, something like that.
Is that the same one?
It's going to be for a period of, let's see, 50 years.
50,
I knew it was a long time.
yeah.
Okay. Anything else? Alan, is that it?
That's it.
Okay. Harry, Emergency Department?
We had our cleanup days and it was very successful. The tar dumpster was really successful, but we did good. That's all I got.
I don't know if you, yeah, I noticed, but, we widened the gate on the.
Mm-hmm. Harry told me that you had a suggestion because of Memorial Day and such, and it's like,
Yeah,
okay.
it's always a nightmare trying to, it's in a bad spot there, and people try to come in and go out that one lane, so I had him widen it, so we can get 2 lanes of traffic going through there.
When I was talking to Harry, I asked him about possibly getting a price for extending this parking lot down here too. So as you can see tonight, it's crowded and we get ball teams here and another meeting going on at one time. We've been talking about it for years, so if we can at least extend it over to the cornfield or whatever, weed field for now. So Harry's gonna look into getting prices for that. Oh, there you go. You guys are all right with that?
Either we'll wait and just put it up here if we get this problem.
We'll have both.
Okay. Anything else? Okay. Okay, Fire Department, Jason.
May I ask a quick question? Would it be okay if I go, like I'm sort of next after Jason, just in case I have to leave? I'd like to be,
Okay.
I just want to give this report, you know. I'm excited. No, I just wanted to tell you that the people who attended the health fair, they had a great time. There was different presentations in this room every half an hour for, I think, 3 or 4 hours. It kept everybody pretty busy in here doing things. There were booths on the grounds. We had a delicious walking taco, thanks to Chris and Sue Dole. They worked on that, and the seniors had baked goods, so there was plenty to eat. And everybody was pretty happy, too, if their name happened to be getting drawn for the door prizes, because that was always a fun thing. So the outcome of that would be, too, that there are some groups and some folks that were here that are interested in some new classes. So start watching for some new things to be emerging here, I hope, this summer. Next, this Sunday coming up, May 19th, is that fun-filled day of Crosby Day that we all love around here. And I know that well, from the last meeting, it was so, I think it was very generous and very nice that the trustees voted to allow all the Crosby Elementary students to go for free. PTA is working with us and said they're going to put, little wristbands on them. So all the kids from the school will get in free that day, but it's only $2 for the rest of the family so that we all have an affordable way to have a great day at the amusement park. I also thank in advance the Crosby businesses that continue to support that in awesome ways so that we can, for free, have door prizes that we give away for the whole 8-hour period all day long. A lot of fun, and everybody looks forward to hoping their number gets drawn, so that's just a cool, great thing. Firemen will be doing their cornhole tournament at 2:30 like they usually do, and so everybody that has a team and wants to play, just register with them when you come in the gate. So that's just next Sunday, May 19th, from 1 to 8 p.m. at Strickers Grove down on 128. And very next week, it's Memorial Day. We have our 104th Memorial Day Parade. That's pretty awesome that we have a history and a legacy that continues. I think we have a patriotic township, and a lot of residents here have their heart in a place that they just continue to honor, I guess, not only our soldiers, our veterans, our military, and America. And so that always makes me proud of them. At any rate, our Grand Marshal this year is a Vietnam veteran. His name is Mr. Harold Brown. He lives here in the township. And our cemetery service speaker will be Mr. Dirk Dugan. He was a colleague of mine when I taught at the junior school. And he has taught social studies for a number of years and also has a heart for both our country, our military, and America. So it should be a great talk. A lot of interesting new things. I think this is going to be the biggest parade that we've had since I've been here this year. So I hope you guys can come and enjoy it and be a part of it. And also, just fold in after the parade passes you and follow right on up into the cemetery and enjoy just a lot of different folks. We had over 200 people in the parade last year, and we will have our bagpiper back again this year, which just topped off our ceremony. All the regular people we count on that have the different roles. There'll be the high school, there'll be young people that lead the pledge. It's just a real community grassroots event that I hope you all can make. But it's at 2 o'clock next Sunday. The parade starts, and then the cemetery service is right after. If you are interested in being in the parade, we have like 3 little ponies. We have different things than we've had before. Just call me and we'll work it out. No problem. We meet, like Jim had mentioned, we stage about 1 o'clock because it is large, and this field behind the softball field. So that will be a fun thing. Senior citizens will have their monthly meeting tomorrow. We have a guest speaker named Bill Hobstetter. He's going to talk about a new program called Kinship Connections. And so I don't know a lot about it yet, but it looks interesting for those folks. And then on Friday, they're going to the Findlay Market, riding the Sky Star Ferris wheel, and having lunch out. So they're having a good thing on Friday. Also, we have a good group of folks that made reservations to see the Blenner-Hassett Mansion in the middle of the Ohio River. There is an island in Parkersburg, which I had no idea. But we're going to stay overnight in a hotel there, and we will be on stern wheelers, horse and buggy carriages, and all kind of stuff. That's June 6th and 7th. And I just wanted to tell you, it's just kind of a neat little update. When we started that, it was called One Call Now phone system, a way to like get the word out on anything we wanted or needed to tell folks that were either on staff or in the senior citizens group. We began to use that, and I think we just started it, maybe it was, I forget, maybe January, not very long. We've already saved 10 hours and 26 minutes if they gauge 1 minute per call. So rather than me make 10 hours worth of calls, they're all out there, people get their information quicker, and it's good. So I just tried to stay brief as I could, but those are a lot of, May's a big month for us. You know, Harry had a great cleanup, and when I look at those bins, and I think, wow, we just got rid of that much junk in our consecutively, you know, for years. I don't know when it started, but just think about what our place would look like if we didn't do that. So I really appreciate the heart of the township and keeping it clean and staying patriotic and being positive about all the good things we are doing in May. I think that's all. Thanks.
Okay. Anything for Brenda?
Nope.
No.
Well, I guess during this time, I want to thank Sue Dole for helping Brenda with the
No, with the
Health
health
fair?
fair.
fair thing.
Yes,
So
she was
I guess
awesome.
She put a lot of time in with you too, and so.
I'll tell her.
I want to thank, tell her I thanked her.
Okay. Okay, thank you. Now, the fire department, Jason.
In April, we had 32 EMS details, 24 fire details, for a total of 56 in April. Wanted to ask Harry, our squad has got hit by a rock on the windshield going to the hospital, and the crack is starting to get worse. So I want to know if Harry had a recommendation if we use somebody. It's a typical van chassis. I know we had a window break on a fire truck. That was a different situation, going through a fire company. But for a van chassis windshield, do you recommend anybody?
No, I've never really used it.
Okay.
I mean, there's like Safe Light and,
Is it okay if I call them and have that fixed before it gets worse?
Oh, yeah.
I'll do that this week then.
Win Longhorn's, husband works for, what is it, was it Ryan Glass?
Ryan's Glass?
I think it's what he,
We got a guy we use at the county garage.
Okay. Okay, that'll work. Okay, thank you. We replaced some handheld box lights on the fire and EMS equipment apparatus. The lights were older. They weren't holding a charge, charging at all. I was able to replace the lights and keep the chargers. The charging units were okay. So we replaced, I believe there was a total of 6 handheld box lights. And the last bullet thing I want to bring up today was taken care of 2 days ago. Rumpke, or not Rumpke,
yeah, Republic.
they finally came. They came. So, that was an issue at first. I didn't think it was, but it was. So it's taken care of now.
It may not be totally over yet. We're still at a disagreement as far as what I think we owe and what they think we owe. But I did ask our contact to stop that, not picking up our stuff. And he got results, so.
Okay.
Do you know Short Road's gonna be closed down?
I do not.
What's the date?
June 3rd, projected, maybe a little sooner, but they're gonna start down along the road and work up. I'd say June 3rd would be a good start.
No, it's gonna be closed for months probably, I would think.
Both?
They're running.
Both sides?
Well, yeah, I think it's supposed to, the way I understand, I'll call the guy who got the job. And, I think Dave Welsh, I think, got the job excavating. They're putting sewer supposed to be right up the middle of the road.
Are they?
And Short Road is supposed to get closed down the whole time. Well, I guess they gotta let them in, you know, shut,
The residents will have access full time.
yeah.
So it'll determine how far they run. Their projected's 100 foot a day, once they get into the road, so that it'll change all the time from where it's closed from what is, so.
And it's a starting when?
June 3rd.
June 3rd.
We got, all the residents got a letter on their doorknob today about the whole thing costing.
Just so,
And what's their estimated amount of time to be finished?
Is it about Mike?
I would say it'd take a couple months, because if they're gonna tear the whole road out, well, I understand the whole road's, they're tearing the whole road out. From what I understand, I'll talk to the excavator and find out, because it's nothing but sand, they gotta go down 30 foot. So they're going to really lay back. From what I understand.
I talked to Hoffman the other day, my neighbor, and he said that it will be open, so they'll put plates over whatever at the end. But they're not gonna, from what he understands, they're not gonna remove the road, they'll saw cut it and then plate it as they go around. And then, once they're done, they'll grind up that whole road and place a new short road down.
Wow.
They said that we'll have access in and out.
Yeah. But at the dry fork in, it's like 30 foot deep to tap,
Mm-hmm.
30, over 30 feet. So.
I'm in the middle and it's still about 20.
Yeah. Yeah. They'll make them all turn right at first, and then they'll, once they get to a point, then everybody's got to turn left, and yeah.
So,
Mm.
Dry Fork, New Haven is gonna be a busy intersection in Mount Hope area. Which is already terrible.
Yeah.
Is everybody coming down Edgewood, and just not the parks, everybody from Edgewood and everything's gotta come down, they have to come down that way. And turn right there at that bad turn, so be on your toes.
Go ahead.
I'll find out more how they're gonna do it, and maybe have them get with you.
Yeah, have them email me or call me or
Yeah.
swing by.
Okay, all right.
Okay. Anything else for Jason? Okay. First officer, Bob.
I gave you guys a copy of Resolution 08-2019. Do you happen to have that? Can we use Mr. Dole's and pass it down? Is the
Alright.
official one?
Okay.
Okay. Basically, it's, you can kind of follow along. Resolution 08-2019 is needed to increase the fire district fund appropriation, which is number 2111-220-599. Falls under the category of other expenses. We need to increase that by $3,075, which ups it to $12,075 to pay for a fireman class. There have been, I haven't kept total track, but there have been some classes this year, which is a good thing. And this is one that we didn't budget for, and luckily we have the money, you know, to move there. But it's a positive that, you know, they're getting educated. So much so that, you know, we didn't have the money in the account. So I need a trustee to make a motion to adopt that resolution, and then a trustee to second the motion, and we'll pass it down the line.
I'll make that motion.
Okay?
I second it. Okay, roll call.
Yeah. Roll
Mr.
call.
Mr. Dole?
Yes.
Mr. Niehaus?
Yes.
Mr. Heiss?
Yes.
Okay, and if you guys could just sign, I think it's above your name, and I will sign at the bottom there, and that's all I have.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Rick?
Last month, we had 19 zoning permits issued. And tonight, I would like the trustees and the clerk to sign off on these declarations of nuisance on 3 properties.
We need 3 resolution numbers, one for each of them.
Okay, we just did 08-2019, so it'd be 09, then 10 and 11-2019. I think there's space for those. 09, 10, and 11.
Does it matter which order?
No.
09, 2019,
10, 2019.
2019, 11, 2019. We'll need a motion for each one. A motion for each resolution to adopt. Rick, do you need to say anything about what each one of these is?
All 3 of them are unlicensed and junk cars.
So these are all for the removal of vehicles, correct?
Correct.
It's got a vote record on here, but it doesn't say who made the motion anywhere on these. Yeah, we did on the other ones.
Okay. Let me see how you did it.
Let me see your just copy of the one we just did.
I want,
No, let me just see your
Oh,
copy
my
of the one
copy.
we just did. Okay.
I think you just put it on the record.
We just put it on the record for, do you need a motion for each one?
Yeah. Somebody move to adopt resolution 09, 2019. Let there be a second, but then the resolution itself will reflect that. It'll be adopted at a meeting tonight. Each of you sign, and Bob signs as fiscal officer.
Just put the date on there. Just give it to Chuck to read. So I can do it.
We should do one at a time.
Okay.
Do
You wanna read it?
2019 first.
You
vote
wanna
on
read
that,
it?
go to the
Read
next
it.
one, vote on that.
okay. Revolution 09, 2019, whereas the Crosby Township Board of Trustees adopted Revolution, I say 9308.
Yeah, that's an
Okay.
way back.
Okay. 93-08 on December 27, 1993, to control the determination of revenues and drop it and a dangerous trespass on private property within the Crosby Township in accordance with Section 505.86 and Section 505.87 of the Ohio Revised Code. Whereas Crosby Township Zoning Department has issued a complaint concerning unlicensed vehicles. 7043 Long Street, Harrison, Ohio, also known as Parcel 530 on page 50, Book 29 of the Hamilton County Auditor Tax Plots. And whereas Crosby Township zoning inspector has inspected the subject premises and has determined that said premises contain unlicensed vehicle. Now, therefore, it could be resolved by the Board of Trustees of Crosby Township that the condition of the premises consists of a nuisance and is determined to the health, safety, and the hereby declare a nuisance. Be it further resolved that the Crosby Township zoning department is therefore directed to address the condition of this property by use of the Crosby Township nuisance and abatement procedure adopted at this meeting of the Crosby Township Board of Trustees, May 13, 2019. Okay, so we need a motion to adopt 09/2019.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second.
Okay, roll call,
Mr. Dole,
Yes.
Mr. Niehaus,
Yes.
Mr. Heiss,
yes.
Then everybody has to sign that one, and then do the same thing for the next two.
Okay. I'm not gonna read, I could kind of give you detail.
Each resolution is set up the same way.
Okay,
Um,
I could kind of give the address
Yeah.
and, okay.
Resolution number.
Okay, Resolution 10-2019 is the same wording, except this is located at 6974 River Road, Harrison, Ohio, also known as parcel 530, page 40, book 19 of the Hamilton County Auditor Tax Plots. And this also is unlicensed vehicle.
I'll make a motion, we approve.
Okay.
I'll second.
Roll call, please.
Mr. Dole,
Yes.
Mr. Niehaus,
Yes.
Mr. Heiss,
Yes. Okay, Resolution 11-2019 is also for unlicensed vehicle located at 7090 New Haven Road, Harrison, Ohio, also known as parcel, I guess you're gonna have the number,
Sorry?
you're gonna have the number on this.
Oh, it's right on the back page.
Okay. I got it. It's Resolution 11-2019. This is for unlicensed vehicles, 7090 New Haven Road, Harrison, Ohio, also known as parcel 530-50- Is that 13?
Yeah, you probably didn't write it correctly. 43.
43.
Number 43.
Okay. Parcel number 530-50-43 of the Hamilton County Auditor Tax Plots. Okay. See, I have a motion.
I'll make a motion.
I'll second.
Roll call, please.
Mr. Dole,
Yes.
Mr. Niehaus,
Yes.
Mr. Heiss,
Yes. Or they can make copies of those.
I'd like a copy.
I think Rick needs copies. You probably want to send that with it.
And Bob need a copy too. So,
That's yours. That was that other
I
one.
find, yeah. Okay, anything else, Rick?
No, that's all I have.
Okay.
We got about 3 properties that way to deed grass mowed, I don't know if you noticed.
I'm sorry, what?
We got about 3 properties between here and the store that need grass mowed. It's about 2 foot tall.
Yeah, I noticed them. I know which ones.
Okay.
But no. The people ain't mowing their grass at the store.
So
I
the,
mow my own.
so the regular one, Rick will keep, and you need a copy, Alan, or not?
I'd like to have a copy for my file, yes.
Okay. And then
And I
Bob
need a
need a
copy.
copy. And I guess we should have copies, the trustees. So,
Lots of copies.
Now, do them get taken there personally, or do you mail that?
No, I'll mail it,
Okay,
along with another letter of explanation.
okay.
If they don't want their cars towed, then they're gonna have to get rid of them. And I'll give them a time period, and if it's not done, then I'll have to contact I'll have to make arrangements to have them towed, along with, an officer to be there.
Okay.
And the letter you send them will refer to the resolution that was passed tonight so that they know that the township trustees have passed a resolution concerning it specifically for their property.
Correct.
Yeah.
yeah, that's okay. I guess old business. We should know.
I have no old business.
Mission House.
I have none.
Okay, I got some. Last month we mentioned the credit card policy. I think, and that Bob talked about, and I looked into it, and I gave the trustees copies, and I think I gave you a copy. So.
I have not revised it, but you won me over, and I am going to revise it in the near future.
Well,
And
I
I
already
will-
got it here.
You revised it?
Yes, actually Brenda typed it, I don't know, months ago.
Oh.
I don't know who told her to do it, but it wasn't me. It was Jim Newhouse, I think. So, yeah, it was Ohio Revised Code. There's an article in Ohio Township Association saying Ohio new credit card rules. You better have a policy for that. So, and I gave everybody a copy of the old policy, which was 1 page. And then the new policy is based upon the Ohio Townships Association. And that, so we got a credit card account policy 2019. And this is almost identical to the Ohio Revised, the Ohio Township Association model credit card policy. So basically, this the House Bill 317 amended the Ohio Revised Code on credit cards, and it got a whole bunch of section number. So basically, we need to adopt this. It got more. This policy gives you more control over the credit card and more restricted use for the credit cards. So,
Would you like a quick look, Steve? It looks good to me.
yeah, it
Since
was
it's-
put together by Ohio Township Association. So, and I know. I know,
They do a lot more definitions and things compared to the old one we had with just
Yeah.
one page.
yeah, actually,
No, it looked.
Whitewater Township, this is also, the credit card policies, would model off the Whitewater Township Association.
Yeah.
So, I'm sure the attorneys, looked at that months ago. So, I think it was supposed to be adopted by February,
Yeah.
so,
Well, I'll make a motion that we approve this new credit card account policy.
I'll second it.
okay. Roll call, please.
Mr. Dole,
Yes.
Mr. Niehaus,
Yes.
Mr. Heiss,
Yes. Actually, I got a copy of the Whitewater Township policy, so I think you got it from one of the trustees or whoever.
Snuck in and stole it.
Okay.
Right.
Okay. I also went to last Thursday on May the 9th, the emergency response pipeline training. I think Christo went to that a couple years ago.
Couple of years.
I don't know if, yeah, we went to that.
what is it?
Emergency pipeline.
It's emergency response pipeline training. That was,
Contract, that's what I do for a living, stick across.
Crosby Township has 3 pipelines going through our township. So, and basically, I got a bunch of handout. I'm gonna give some of the information to the fire department. They probably already have some of it. If there's probably more recent information, and also I guess the zoning department would probably be benefit to have some of that information. And I probably even have some we could put out here. So, but basically before, a couple of things before you give, make sure you, not only the pipeline, but if you got underlying utilities, you always call, make sure you're not gonna get into a lucky phone line or whatever. So, but this pretend to a pipeline and also an emergency phone number. And I guess everybody saw they got these, like these posts, and they got 3 things on it. They got the emergency phone number to let you know what it is, for example, gas, and then the company name like Township Gas. So basically I'm gonna give this information out to the fire department and I give Rick some of our information and put some out there. So it was a very interesting meeting. So yeah, one you want to
Yeah, it's very good.
good. So
Like you said, that thing, call 811 if you're gonna be doing any digging.
yeah. So
That's the main thing.
yes.
They'll come out and look around for you for free.
Yeah, they say that post may not be exactly where that pipeline is. That pipeline might be off a couple of feet, however. So, the other thing, I had a meeting at Westside after our last trustee meeting. And I mentioned before, it was the Township Gas, $64,565. The estimate revenue is $440,000 for 2019. The estimate they're going to spend around $540,000. So they talked at the last trustee meeting for Westside, and they one of the solutions right now. I think the best solution is the Whitewater and Crosby Township make up that shortage. 50% one for Crosby, 50% for Whitewater. The other thing we're talking about is right now, the Westside Board of Trustees is only 2 trustees, one for Whitewater on the board and one for Crosby Township. So I don't want to change the resolution, just change the makeup. So right now, there's a tie that go to attorney for Westjack. So like to appoint an independent person could be a voting member, so there'll be not, they're probably way overdue because they were 2 trustees on that forever. So I did talk to the attorney for Westjack, William Teeters, about a month ago, and he's going to revise that for the Westjack board. And our next meeting for Westjack trustee meeting will be slide 11. So I would need to get this done and take it to the board. So, but I thought, I would put on the Westjack trustee meeting because that was after last our meeting in April. So, so basically, I asked the other trustees how you feel about making up the shortage for Westjack. We're probably looking at maybe Crosby Township, maybe around $50,000 a year.
No, I have a problem.
60,000.
I think it's just right now until we could go hire more full-timers or have them available once, it's probably the cheapest route to go. And
Yep.
but we can, always have that, and if we get, I don't know how do we feel if, say, we did hire 3 full-timers here, we got them, say we hired, are we gonna leave Whitewater out without it, or what?
Well, they require to have 2 mothers on duties.
Yeah.
You what?
Would, that's the whole goal between Whitewater and Crosby. It's not to
Disman it.
or short the community on one side or
Yeah.
the other. This is one way where we could extend West Jad.
Yeah, and I like that idea, doing that, to have, it's gonna guarantee us to have medics here.
Right.
No matter if somebody leaves or not, or
Correct.
we have problems.
Right.
So.
And if
I
we're
like the
short.
idea, it's just, I'm doing that,
So, yeah, we require to have, 2 mothers on duties. So if we got one from Westjack and one from Crosby, we'd have 2 on location. And same way Whitewater, they would have one from Westjack and one from Whitewater Fire Department, so they would have 2. So,
That'll keep West Ed the way it is today.
as of now, yes,
Not with one guy down in,
right. We have one in Crosby, one in Whitewater. So,
Right.
so, they haven't really came up with the amount yet, so they probably will.
They're just wanting to feel us out. They don't have an exact number yet, or what?
We're looking about that figure, about 100,000 short, 120,000 short. So,
Okay.
say that'd be like 50, 60,000, which is about 15,000, 12,500, 15,000 a quarter.
All right.
So, then yeah, just okay. That's all the old business I have. New business. We should know.
All right. New business is no action to be taken. Brenda gave me a contact from a resident that lived in Parks of Whitewater and was concerned about the intersection of Dry Fork and New Haven, where an accident just happened, and where Mount Hope comes out. So this particular resident of Parks of Whitewater also happens to be a engineer. So I went and met with him and at his company's office downtown Cincinnati and kind of talked about that intersection and the other 2, Short Road. So basically the whole triangle. So, their suggestion was to get back with get with City Harrison, find out what the two different traffic studies were. You know, now they got a new subdivision being built, and that should have had a traffic study. So I called down Harrison, and I'm trying to get a meeting set up. They're okay with it. They want to have a meeting also, and I called the county engineer and talked with Fred Schlim and of course Ted Hubbard, the county engineer. We're trying to set a meeting up for some time this month, you know, between the three of us and maybe even including the Park District, if I can get the new guy Todd over there also, and possibly just talk about what can be done at that intersection. Because, you know, in the past, the county engineer has said, well, we can do a kidney-shaped roundabout there or something, and Ted's still on to that idea. And of course, the other fix would be to take New Haven and just tee it into Dry Fork, where that last little bit of triangle piece is, which is park property. You know, would turn just past the houses. That way, then they could maybe realign Mount Hope with that, make it a four-way, or, you know, have two different ones to try and slow down that curve. You know, but, you know, they want to throw out different ideas, look at funding, you know, with talking with Fred with the OPWC, you know, being there's more than one jurisdiction involved, you know, both us and Harrison and Hamilton County, we should be able to get, and it being a safety issue with it being a school bus route, we should be able to get some Ohio's funding for that. So it's just a matter of getting everybody to the table here sometime. We're hoping this month, you know, so we're gonna talk about it. You know, it's we knew it was gonna come, you know, and it's been getting worse. And you know, there's a lot of people turning left, and now a short road being shut down, it's even gonna be uglier. So it's just on time. So
It's just as dangerous coming from there and turning right,
Oh,
because
yeah.
people from here don't, they just go. They're
Oh,
not-
yeah.
You've been all these years, nobody ever you know,
I know, you
turning
could-
right there, and people just go, and it's like, that's the problem, you know, it's been so many years doing
Oh, yeah.
the same thing, and then.
Yeah, and then we were,
It's dangerous, but that tunnel screws up a lot of the problem.
yeah, yeah, and they know that.
The fix on it, that tunnel does.
Right, and that's the thing I was looking at with the other resident, you know, engineer or whatever. We were looking at the tunnels and looking at all the other different, you know, we got to get everybody involved with that in order to change that. And then, like I said, and then we brought up the issue, okay, you got both ends of Short Road where actually are issues, you know, so.
How you fix it, I mean, there's.
Well, that's what we need to get together and put your heads together, and you can't, it's got to be talked about, you know, you just can't say, damn, sorry.
Yeah, I
So-
mean, I've brought the suggestion of raising Mount Hope Road up to help that intersection.
Yeah,
Just raise it so you're not starting off like this. And you could, and if you raise it up, you know, there at the end, and you'd be sitting like this in New Haven, where you could look down a lot easier.
mm-hmm,
And especially in the wintertime when it snows on you, but you would be up here like this instead of being taken off from here, trying to get out there fast. I mean, I grew up on the road, but it's, now there's a lot more people using it than
yeah.
what the 15 that lived on there when I was a kid.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's,
but that's all the new business I have.
yeah, I thought, at least since I've been out here, 2 people got killed at that location.
Yeah.
And one was an older man, and the other one was a teenager that went too fast.
Yeah.
And,
Was it fatal?
Yeah, but we don't know if it happened before or after, so don't say anything about that. It's not been verified. So,
so, that people go speed through there, that water
sheriff
problem.
lying to
too.
me, I guess, then. Okay.
But people do go speeding through there too, so that,
Yeah.
you make a left turn there, that's dangerous on Dry Fork.
Yeah, it's just,
so,
it needs to be fixed, that's all.
yeah,
So,
it's been a
like I
long
said,
time.
the wheels are in motion, so.
Yeah, okay. Mr. Newhouse. Okay, the only thing I have is Jim Newhouse and I went to a meeting, I guess a quarterly meeting on the Hamilton County Emergency Management and Homestead, I'm sorry, Homeland Security Agency it's just a committee meeting. You ever been to one of these?
Which one is that?
So, basically, they're made up of the different townships and city and Hamilton County. I guess it's basically countywide. They have a meeting.
Well, it was on April 22nd. Did you go?
Yeah, Jim and I both went.
Oh.
The one I went to, the Hamilton County thing,
Yeah.
more than hell?
No, it was the Homeland Securities.
I don't think that was it.
April 22nd.
I was at the Board of Health thing.
Ah, okay. So I got you mixed up with this one. Okay. Well, anyway, I went and it's basically out of the county-wide emergency system. So, okay, that's all I have.
See that?
Yeah. Okay. I guess any others concerned?
Nope.
None?
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Okay, a second.
I'll second.
Roll call?
Thank you. Mr. Dole,
Yes.
Mr. Niehaus,
Yes.
Mr. Heiss,
Yes. I think you got mine.